Hello, hello. I'm Camille Saunders, professional witch on Instagram at professional.witch, and my website, CamilleSaunders.com. Today I'm doing a new moon in Libra collective tarot reading as we entered the autumn equinox on the 21st and 22nd. I'm here doing this on September 23rd, a little bit after. But yeah, let's all wait for any folks that are going to be dropping in live. I'm going to get my QR codes up and everything. So if you ever, after I do the collective tarot readings, I will also pull a card for anyone that wants to have a card pulled for them. You can join the Everyday Tarot Patreon family at $6.66 a month. You can get a card pulled for you every month live on during my collective tarot readings. Let's see what else here. All right. Okay, so let's get into it. So, like I said, this is for the new moon in Libra collective tarot reading that I'm doing live today on September 23rd, 2025. And this is part of the Everyday Tarot podcast that I host, which is your daily dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. Like I said, I'm your host, Camille Saunders, healer, tarot enthusiast, and your local witch next door. And today I'm talking about the new moon in Libra, which just occurred. We also had an eclipse on Sunday the 21st, going into the 22nd. And here I am recording on September 23rd. So whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, my podcast, Everyday Tarot, offers daily insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. You can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, for fresh perspectives or empowering guidance from the tarot as interpreted by me. All right, apologies about the background sound. I was trying to check my Instagram for lives, and you can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, for fresh perspectives, like I said, and empowering guidance from the tarot as interpreted by me on the Everyday Tarot podcast. So this new moon collective tarot reading is something that I'm doing every new moon, so look forward to that. If you look on the screen, I have the Everyday Tarot Patreon family link there. But if you ever want a card pulled for you once a month live after the collective tarot readings during these new moons, you can join the Everyday Tarot Patreon family at the lovers level. If you want to support the podcast even further, or you want to get a full reading, you can get a one-time individual 5-card reading in addition to all the other benefits, as well as any workbooks or extra workshops or anything that I do will all be included in the Witch Bitch level on the Patreon. If you love the show, the best way to support it is by listening daily, leaving a review, and subscribing or following in your favorite podcast app. And I'm offering a 12-week Tarot for Transformation, a live course starting later this month. If you're interested, I'll have the link on my link tree for more information or to get signed up for that. If you want to get my free PDF with the 2025 5-card tarot spread I created just for you at the beginning of this year, you can get that by joining my newsletter list. And if you don't already know, I'm a sex and relationships therapist and coach, seeing clients virtually all over from my home office. I love working with queer, poly, and witchy clients. So if you'd like to work with me, head to my website, CamilleSaunders.com/everydaytarot, and book a free consultation now to start your journey. And you can find the links for any of these offers in my podcast show notes or on the website, CamilleSaunders.com/everydaytarot, in addition to images of the cards I pull on each episode. And I think since I do record these as videos here and then post them after they've gone live, I'm also going to be adding this to my Everyday Tarot basically episodes. So this will be like a bonus episode that will be on video for folks. I've also started interviewing guests, which are going to also be on video. So look forward to upcoming video podcasts. It won't be every time, but right now I just mostly record audio. And then, but as I'm doing guests or anything like that, I will have those recorded on video, which will be fun to add there. All right, so let's get into more of the collective tarot reading. I'm going to pull the new moon in Libra, like some information about that and talk about it. And then we'll talk about the relation to the tarot, what cards I see coming up. And then I'm going to do the collective tarot reading. And yeah, and I pulled out a couple decks that I think I'm going to use. We'll see kind of what additionally comes up. All right, so if you're listening to this live, go ahead and grab your own decks as well. You can always go ahead and do that. And again, if you want a tarot card pulled for you live at the podcast at the end of these episodes, you can join my Patreon to do so. All right. I'll give you a minute to go grab your tarot decks or oracle or notebook or anything that you want to grab, and then we'll get started. All right, so let's get started. So I'll start by talking about Libra season and this new moon in Libra. So the sun is leaving Virgo and entering Libra season right now, again, which happened on September 22nd. I'm recording this on the 23rd. Perhaps you're listening a couple days later or anything like that. But this is the timing that we're talking about. We sort of exited the eclipse portal on the 21st for the autumn equinox that we were in from September 7th to the 21st. So we had like a 2-week period in the eclipse portal, which you may have noticed. I would say it was hard not to notice. Yeah, so let's get into a bit of information about Libra season and what this brings in for us. So I'm pulling this from moonomens.com, a favorite reference of mine. So, like I said, the sun leaves Virgo and enters Libra, bringing the spotlight of the art of balance and inviting us to address any imbalances in our lives. The equinox and the beginning of Libra season offers us this opportunity to get more awareness in our relational dynamics that we're participating in and observe how we find harmony between opposite energies, both within ourselves and all around us. For the start of Libra season is particularly significant for people born with natal placements in cardinal signs, which would be Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn sun signs. These individuals can access clarity about something that needs to be addressed within their relationships and have a chance to refine the way they balance independence and interdependence. interdependence. And Libra season offers, right, this opportunity to gain clearer insight into our patterns and to step into this deeper awareness through the mirrors that other people provide. So as we move from Virgo season into Libra, if you know the zodiac seasons at all or study astrology, Libra is all about balance. It is depicted as with scales, so literal balance, right? And like the scales of justice, which I'll talk about as we get into more of the tarot correspondence of Libra season. But so Virgo seasons come to an end, which was, I always think of Virgo as like back to school season, because it's like improving our daily lives, like habits, devoting ourselves to what matters, like getting rid of stuff that doesn't serve us, paying more attention to details. As the sun enters Libra, we cross the threshold of the equinox, right? So we are moving, if you're in the northern hemisphere, we've now passed the midpoint from summer to winter. So we are halfway in between, which is what equinox means. I believe equal night is what it means. So it's this rare moment of, right, perfect balance between light and dark, and day and light. So this strongly resonates with Libra because Libra is all about balance and sort of bringing things into balance. It spotlights this eternal dance of opposites, the search for harmony with yin and yang, sun and moon, masculine and feminine energies, and the sun's journey through the sign of the scale. So again, the scales that you see as Libra's astrological sign is depicted reminds us that creating balance is an art, right? Like it's very challenging, and true balance is dynamic. So it's not about stillness or rigidity, right? Of like, it's about this sort of like ever changing balance of like, okay, something's heavier over here, now I have to put a little more over here in this realm, and as that gets a little bit heavier, then we have to go back over here. So it's kind of this like back and forth, like it's never complete, I would say. And it's not something we achieve like once and for all, but an ongoing journey of alignment and refinement that requires us to stay rooted in our present moment. As we enter Libra season this year in 2025, the invitation for us is to notice what is out of balance and where we might have been moving towards extremes. At this time of year, we're being asked to make the adjustments to find harmony between opposite energies within ourselves, in our relationships, and in our lives. And as a cardinal sign, Libra invites us into this journey. So at this stage in the zodiac wheel, we are learning to relate to other people from a place of equality. This is the first sign through which we enter the social sphere as equals. So Virgo is related to work and service, and the relationships we form in these contexts are not based on the premise of equality, but Libra season invites us to observe how we show up in our interpersonal relationships, pay particular attention to any unacknowledged power imbalances or discrepancies in that ever flowing give and receiving that are emerging in our connections with others. So maybe this has felt like you're having to set more boundaries, or you're getting more drained by other people, or just certain relationships or connections are just not feeling in balance. Maybe you are giving more than you receive, or maybe you are like getting a lot of like attention on you and that doesn't feel good, or you're wanting to give a bit more of yourself. So as the sun journeys through Libra, like it's an opportunity to observe how we find harmony between our needs and desires and the needs and desires of other people in our lives. Again, right, this is how boundaries work. Again, boundaries also aren't generally a thing that you set and forget and then like you said it once and now it's good to go. Like it's very much about being in relationship with other people and kind of like the messiness that comes along with that. Like it's not perfect. It's not necessarily that it can be the same with every person. It's finding that harmony in our lives. And it's an invitation to reflect on how we are showing up as well, and how much of our identity is associated with our role in relationships, right? If you have people in your lives that see you in sort of this like narrow role or box or depiction, like that might be feeling stifling right now, right? You might be expanding outside of that or feeling like you no longer fit in that group. So Libra season reminds us that we are each other's mirrors and inspires us to harness the power of collaboration, cooperation, and connection, which I think often is actually what boundaries look like. Again, it's not necessarily a thing that you say once and then you're like, oh, I'm good to go. It often has to be this dance of collaboration and, like I said, trying to find your own needs and balancing that with the needs of others. And if you are in relationships where you are caring about each other, like, cooperation and connection is important, and it takes, like, sometimes it's a time to prioritize learning from each other, creating stronger bonds, and then addressing those imbalances, because otherwise we often like end up in this place of resentment. And just after the sun enters Libra, it immediately moves into an opposition with retrograde Neptune at 0 degrees in Aries. So for the first days of Libra season, which we're in right now, the sun and Neptune opposition sort of brings into the spotlight these identity issues that can make us more confused about who we are and what our purpose is. So if identity has been coming up recently in the last couple of days for you, like, it makes sense. This alignment is asking us to reflect on who we are and when there is no one around. And the masks that we wear for other people, like, that start to dissolve, and we have to make sure our expression is anchored in our inner truth. So as we move forward in Libra season, like on October 7th, the full moon occurs at 14 degrees of Aries. And this, like, moon lunation brings invitation to make sure we aren't sacrificing our needs and desires in favor of others and building up resentment, as I talked about. So we will, right, as we go into October, enter an Aries full moon, which will be all about connecting with our strength, our willpower, courage, breaking free from agreements and collaborations and relationships that don't feel supportive to us anymore or aren't supporting our growth and are aligned with our true needs. And that will remind us that compromise cannot come at the cost of self-betrayal, because, again, usually when we're compromising, that looks like we are doing what everyone else wants and not ourselves. And after a while, that really starts to, like, get to us generally, right? That self-betrayal. And as we, go into, so right now we're at the new moon, right? We've entered Libra season. Then we will have the full moon in Aries on October 7th. And then on October 21st, right, about a month from now, we'll get another new moon. And that will come in right as sort of the end of Libra season, which will be inviting us to explore new ways of relating and showing up in relationships. So we will also be really confronted with our Chiron that will be in Aries at that time. That's going to bring our attention to, like, wounds that come up when we're in relationship with other people and partnerships, and highlight how past pain may still be distorting the way we give and receive love. So the Libra new moon at that time of year is going to invite us to move through discomfort with honesty and courage, dismantle unhealthy relationship patterns, and remind us that real intimacy requires vulnerability, right? We can't just expect that other people will give us vulnerability and that we won't have to do that as well. So, all right, let's get into our tarot spread. So I'm pulling the spread from angelorum.co, Astrology, New Moon, Libra Tarot Spread. And this is for the New Moon in Libra, Peace and Harmony Tarot Spread. So I'll be pulling 6 cards today as we talk about peace and harmony, which, again, when we really talk about it like that, is also boundaries, right? That is how we find peace and harmony in ourselves. It's going to help us rebalance, restore our inner peace and harmony in time for Samhain or Halloween or Day of the Dead. The new moon in Libra is the perfect time for this kind of reboot. So we're going to do, like, a full karmic cleanse or minor adjustments that might come through within this structure of, right, doing this spread. So Libra, right, corresponds with the Justice card in tarot because of the scales of justice that get depicted on that card. What else do we have there? Some of the keywords with Libra season are balance, harmony, legal action, marriage, divorce, court rulings, decisions, equality, and homeostasis, all things that come up with justice, right? Sometimes literal justice of like the legal system, and also sometimes like justice more in relationship where it's going to be about equality and decisions. This is also a time to like embrace creativity, finding new things. Again, we're kind of like, we're in back to school season. Maybe we found our new routines and now we're trying to, right, perhaps incorporate new things like other movement activities or self-care, practice like yoga or going for a walk in nature, doing like media detoxes, especially at this time of year, taking care of yourself physically and mentally. That will help us align with this sort of harmony energy of Libra new moon, and rebalancing your relationships. And again, this doesn't have to be just romantic relationships, but like any relationships you're in. It can be with family, it can be with partners, it can be with your pets or your co-workers, like anything like that. And this is a time to really like release any toxic connections, make room for healthier and more balanced relationships. Again, this season's all about balance and like how do we, right, have relationship harmony. That doesn't mean that we never have conflict, but again, as with the scales of justice and as balance comes through, like we are having to figure out like, okay, sometimes, right, I'm giving a little bit more than others, sometimes they're giving a bit more, and how do we meet in the middle, and how do we actually talk about and repair from situations where we may have felt rupture or hurt or distrust with someone that we do care about and want to continue being in partnership of any kind with. And it's a good time to like, right, align with like what you really want and what you're looking for. And if you're not getting that out of whatever relationship you're in, then right, Libra season is calling us to let it go. So some ways to harness the new moon in Libra, right? Again, we'll get into the tarot part, but like being unapologetically creative, right? If a new crafting tool or hobby comes to you, like go for it, right? As we enter into the cooler, darker months of the year, at least in the northern hemisphere, like we need those crafting creative projects to kind of keep us going and kind of hopeful and interested as we perhaps lose a bit of the appeal of going outside, or especially if we're gardeners or hiking or anything, like it's just slightly less pleasant and more challenging in other times of year, right? Finding ways to have movement still, like I said with yoga, or like going on a walk in your neighborhood or in the woods, or sort of like unfollowing or not reading things that are just adding to your anxiety, like writing down feelings, giving things up that you no longer need to charity or donating them, right? That's also a process of letting go. And again, kind of like going through, taking like an audit of your relationships and removing yourself from people or situations or organizations that drain you of energy. Setting intent for relationships harmony, or even like manifesting a partner or partnership of any kind. Focusing on diplomacy in your negotiations, right? And having like, yes, compromise means that in a lot of ways, neither side gets what they want, or at least not all that you want. There's also, right, maybe finding like your, right, this is a time of year where we start to kind of go inward as we enter the cooler, darker months of the year, where we're going to be thinking about how are we expressing ourselves? Is there a new aesthetic that is interesting to us that we want to play with? And also like really connecting, right, being intentional about your connections with other people, not just being around others or being in groups or situations because you feel obligated. Like that is not it. Libra does not want us to be doing that. Libra is social. And so like finding the ways to be social that are still fulfilling, exciting, and all of that to you. Okay. So let's do that tarot spread. So we're going to talk about these 6 different cards. I'm trying to decide. I'm probably going to do for my Oracle deck, even though I know this is a collective tarot reading, so bear with me. But this is my newest deck. It's the Norse Goddess Rune Oracle. beautiful. I got it from the Haunted Farmers Market, my favorite place. And it's by Rebecca Joy Stark and artwork by Shannon McLeod, both of whom you can find on Instagram if you're interested. I do tag them when I use their cards when I post on Instagram. Rebecca Joy Stark is at Stark Raven Runes on Instagram, and I think Sharon McLeod is just like Sharon McLeod on there. So, okay, I'm going to incorporate my card I pulled last podcast episode into here, but let's go ahead and get started. So, like I said, we're doing a 6-card pull. This is all about peace and harmony. So we're going to be talking about what do I need to break up with, where am I out of whack, who or what I need to team up with, effects of past lack of harmony, what I will gain from bringing balance back, and the future foundation for more peace. So a 6-card spread, and it's sort of arranged like a descending triangle. So there are 3 cards at the top, then 2, then 1, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at the bottom. So again, we have balance even in our tarot spread here. So usually how I do this is I go ahead and I pull all of the cards. You know, you see me, I'm shuffling a couple times. Oh, we have one already. Okay, I'll put that in there. And then, yeah, usually I cut the deck. I'm putting my cards up here. And then I'll sort of go through them one by one and what I think these are kind of about. Everything is in reverse, so take that as you will. This deck kind of already has reversals built in separate cards, so generally right now I've just been reading them as upright, but we shall see. And wow, I have some cards that keep coming up. So this deck, like I said, is an oracle deck. It incorporates runes and Norse goddesses together in the same cards. And each rune is depicted as both the upright and the upside down version. And they have different cards and different meanings. So that's already incorporated. And I believe there are 39 cards. So I'll tell you the number that's associated with the card, but again, this isn't going to translate super well to tarot, so bear with me. I know I'm doing oracle. This is a tarot podcast, but I can tell you how to adapt. So, okay, what do I need to break up with? I pulled number 17 right here. Nowadays. And this is Nana, which is about constraint, need, and restriction. Let's see here. We have kind of like a Viking boat, and sort of a forlorn-looking woman or character here. And let's see what she's about. And again, this is the what I need to break up with card. So looks like she's kind of breaking up with people or situations or someone that's on that boat. Okay, so like I said, she's about constraint, need, and restriction. So I am Nana, goddess of joy. Baldir is my husband, Forseti my boy. My light is taken, constrained by my grief. May Nowadays break your bonds and bring relief. So she's the goddess of joy and happiness, yet renowned for her grief. So Nana is the beloved mother of Forseti, who takes pride in his fair and just nature. She shines beside her husband, rejoined in death to live eternally. So Nana is empowering, a symbol of true love. In the prose Edda, she dies of a broken heart. The grief over the death of her husband, Baldir, is too much to bear. She's consumed by sadness and loss, a true symbol of undying and unwavering devotion. As Baldir is taken to shore and placed upon his funeral ship, so that is probably what's depicted here. Hearing horny, Nana, oh, that's the name of the ship. Okay. Nana succumbs to her grief, and in the moment of heartbreak, she also meets death and is placed side by side with her husband. Hrunghori is hallowed by Por, and the ship sets sail to deliver Nana and Baldir to hell, which I pulled later. So here she is. All right, so Nana symbolizes the need for companionship and the significant grief that can be overwhelming during times of loss. These two are joined in hell, living happily together in peace, only to build a brighter world after Ragnarok. While constrained by grief and heartbreak, she's a symbol of overcoming that which constrains to rebuild a brighter world filled with love and happiness. As the mother of Forseti, the god of justice, appropriate for Libra season, Nana knows that grief is the result of love, for one only grieves that which they have loved and lost. Here she stands in the depths of despair, soon to embark on the next phase of her journey in love. So the divination meaning for this card and the rune associated is Naudis, is the rune of need and constraint. As Nana is constrained by grief and loss, this rune holds the power of emotional constraints and a need for love and compassion in times of sadness. It represents human needs described by psychologist Abraham Maslow as the basics of food, so Maslow's hierarchy: food, warmth and shelter, a sense of belonging, self-worth and love, through to self-actualization, enlightenment, and transcendence. It steps in to bring awareness to your needs. What is it that you are lacking? What needs are as yet unfilled? And it brings to mind as an opportunity to explore your inner needs compared to your wants. And I think that that is what it's all about, right? Like, if we're feeling trapped by our desires or constrained by demands that aren't like fulfilling to you, this rune, right, brings us back into focus what really matters. So, right, we kind of have to do that that reflection, and then come to a place of like, maybe I need a new job, right? Maybe I am leaving this friendship. Maybe I'm moving, and all these different things. Like right, we have to often release things in order for the new path to become more clear or available to us. All right, so that was the what I need to break up with. So I think it's kind of like we have to break up with the idea that grief is a bad thing, right? Like, as Nana sort of exemplifies, is that grief really comes from love. And if we don't ever allow ourselves to feel grief, then we are also sort of cutting ourselves off from joy and love because of fear of heartbreak. And so we need to break up with the idea that like numbing ourselves to grief like also means we're numbing ourselves to joy and excitement. And so we kind of just live this more neutral existence, right? But really this spread is about peace and harmony, right? Like, we have to allow for the ups and downs. Of course we're finding balance, but that doesn't mean that we're trying to like be the same all the time. That's not how we find balance. Okay, so card 2 is Where Am I Out of Whack? Amazing prompt here. And I pulled card number 35, Lagus Merkstov. She's like a sea goddess. Ron, overwhelm, loss of control, and confusion. So you can see it's kind of like a tumultuous sea. I love the art on these cards. It's beautiful though. And you can see the runes in the corners of the card. Okay, so where am I out of whack? Let's find out. Okay, 35. I am Ron, in the depths I dwell, sailors I drag to my halls in a swell, drowned by the ocean to live on in my realm, may Lagus Merkstov guide you from overwhelm. So I would say sort of initially, right, overwhelm is where we're feeling out of whack. So Ron is the goddess of the deep sea, casting her net to pull sailors to their doom. She's the mother of 9 daughters who personify the ocean waves, and she's the goddess of stormy, savage seas who takes drowned men to her hall. She's the goddess most feared by seamen throughout Scandinavia during the Viking Age. Offerings were often made to her in hope that she would provide a calm sea and safe passage over the rolling waves. She's depicted as like a tempest, so in the same way that like mermaids or sirens are seen. and especially because she has these 9 daughters. They're all sort of different aspects of the treacherous ocean, and her daughters were often spoken of in fear, anger, or remorse, particularly by those aboard a ship beaten by incessant winds and tumultuous seas. Doomed sailors were caught in Ron's net and dragged to her watery halls, where they live on with her and her husband, Agir. Okay, so let's see. What's the divination meaning here? So Lagris Merksoff is the rune of overwhelm. It's being drowned by forces that often reside within, particularly overwhelming strong emotions, right? So last card we talked about allowing for depth of emotions, right? Allowing for highs and lows. And so right here, right, when we're in that space, it's intimidating, inspiring fear, anxiety, and a loss of control to sometimes allow ourselves to feel the full, right, tumultuous waves of the ocean. The rune reversed calls your attention to your emotional well-being. Are you drowning in overwhelming emotions? Are you ignoring them and swimming against the tide? Are you carried away emotionally, soon to plummet over the raging waterfall? Emotions are our body's way of making sense of the world and serve a very important purpose. Reflect upon your emotional state, allowing yourself to feel deeply and without judgment. So this rune represents a period of emotional turmoil. So again, this is where am I out of whack? So right, perhaps there was a time in your life where like traumatic experiences, loss, mental unwellness, or emotional dysregulation were coming through, and it's important to find something to hold on to, right? We have to find a life raft that will provide the stability you need to see out this turmoil as it continues. So as quickly as the stormy sea appears, it disappears, settling back into the calm, serene ocean filled with mystery and wonder. Okay, what else here? Oh, you can see my cute shirt. Anti-Social Witches Club, also from the Haunted Farmers Market. My favorite place. Okay, what else here? So yeah, emotional turmoil, it brings this rune, brings a sense of confusion. It can feel at times as though your intuition or emotional awareness is blocked or chaotic. Constantly swimming against the current will cause you to tire. Instead, it's advised to seek stability, go with the flow, and use your logic to navigate to a safe place. So, right, what has us out of whack is that we're trying to swim against the current, right? We're trying to force things to not happen or rigidly keep going to the thing that you hate or don't like waking up for, or the people annoy you, when you don't even have to be going. Like, you don't need to fix them or the organization or the group or the situation. Like, it's time to let it go, right? We have to stick with what's going to keep us safe and feeling stable, and like we can, right, continue to go with the flow and use our logic to navigate to a safe place. And if the tumultuous waves are caused by others that you feel constantly need your rescue, it's time to give yourself stability. So rather than diving in to saving those who are drowning, become the lighthouse. Firmly planted on the solid ground, you can light the way for others without risking your well-being. It's easier to navigate troubled waters when you can see what lies ahead. In the meantime, stay strong, for soon it will calm, right? So instead of trying to jump into the water, right, be the lifeguard, go and save them, sometimes, right, we just have to be the model. We have to be the example as things go ahead, or the example of like how things can be. We have to provide stability for ourselves. All right, so who or what I need to team up with. Oh, I love this card. Also, oh my god, it has cats on it. I'm so excited. So this is the number 1 card, Feihu. Look at the beautiful rainbow, and we have like guard cats. I love it. And this is Freya, portable wealth, abundance, and finances. Love. We love this. So who or what I need to team up with. I haven't pulled this card before, so this is fun. Let's see here. So I am Freya, goddess of fertility, the near of passion and full of virility. Bring in some men in my famed golden torque. May they who bring wealth to the path that you walk. So Freya, the Vanir goddess who obtains her prized amber and gold necklace from the dwarves. Freya, goddess of love, passion, fertility, and abundance. Freya, goddess of war, who receives the first choice of half the fallen warriors to await the final battle at Ragnarok. Freya embodies wealth, depicted wearing Bringsamen, the golden torque or neck ornament, and is flanked by her two cats. Here, I'll show you. Which draw her chariot across the sky. She has enough not only to live comfortably, but also to share with those around her who will reciprocate in kind. Freya is wearing her falcon cloak, providing her with the ability to shapeshift and fly. You can kind of see her wings behind her. She generously lends this cloak to Loki on different occasions that require him to fly between realms. In the Sorlapatir, Freya is so enamored by Bringsamen, which is created by the dwarves, that she must obtain it at all costs. And that's again her necklace that she's wearing. This encounter highlights the power of wealth, so they agree only if she has sex with them in order to give her this necklace. This encounter highlights the power of wealth, the work and sacrifice that it takes to buy what we want in life. Freya does not regret her decision and lends her necklace to Thor when he impersonates her as a bride. Freya is hardworking, strong, powerful, and true representation of wealth. She embodies love, abundance, fertility, new beginnings, and inner magic that money simply cannot buy. So Fehu is the rune of portable wealth, meaning cattle. It refers to the source of great wealth in Scandinavia. Cattle provided meat, milk, leather, horns, and a method to transport goods. They symbolize wealth and the ability to provide for the community in which you live. To raise and care for cattle, a great deal of work must be put in. So Fehu represents this notion that wealth and toil go hand in hand. Fehu is the beginning. The first step is always the hardest, but the only way to reach your goal is to move forward. So it's time to get to work. So part of the power of this rune is supporting those less fortunate. So perhaps you will receive financial aid, or you will be called to support those in need. Wealth shared can be a powerful way to improve the abundance of your community, particularly those requiring some extra assistance. Donate to a charity, work with the vulnerable in your society, and find ways to share your wealth, whether financial, knowledge, or deeds. Fehu indicates financial success, increased wealth, or abundance in your life. It may be that a pay increase or promotion will be offered, or a creative project will receive financial support. Wealth looks different to all of us, and Fehu indicates that wealth is on your side. If you have been struggling financially, Fehu gives you the opportunity to improve your situation. So don't sell yourself short, know your worth, and Fehu will provide for you. Lovely. Okay. I'm just moving my keyboard out of the way here so I can see all my cards. Those are the first three. Then we have 4, 5, and then 6. So next is effects of past lack of harmony. So here we have number 7, Onsus, and this is vulva, about communication, wisdom, and message. This is number 7, like I said. So I am vulva. My power is great. Odin seeks my counsel to learn of his fate. Sadir, I practice my words speak true. May Onsus bring wisdom and guidance to you. So this was the name given to a Norse seeress who practiced Sadir. Vulva prophesies the fate of men and gods, using her shamanic power to traverse the boundaries between realms and traveling the roots and branches of Yggdrasil, to access wisdom, which is like the tree. So that is what's on the back here, with the sort of like almost like tree of life image, but in the roots and branches, to access wisdom before relaying messages back. And you can kind of see like the third eye activation there of her as a seer. So she spent many years perfecting her craft, often working in solitude or traveling from village to village, assisting those who require her services. So this is the effects of past lack of harmony. Archaeological evidence has shown women believed to be volur were found with expensive jewelry, staffs, and seeds, perhaps used for hallucinogenic purposes. Her mastery over magic allows her to manipulate the fates, shapeshift, and view the threads of destiny. Her skills in Sadir grant her access to the vast web of world of weird. Let's see. So in the divination meaning, Saunders is the rune of communication, meaning God or mouth. It represents the divine message being received. It is the power of wisdom seeking, the ability to answer questions, and the preparation required to receive the answers. It symbolizes communication with others and opens up our experiences to take in divine messages and signs from beyond our realm. It enables us to recognize that body language and actions speak louder than words. Perhaps you are receiving spiritual messages, divine synchronicities that you may not yet understand. Meditation and awareness can help to clarify those messages being sent your way. As the rune assigned to the All-Father Odin, Saunders represents divine wisdom and seeking guidance from those who have the knowledge and skills to guide your path. This can take the form of a counselor, therapist, trusted friend, colleague, or spiritual advisor. Asking for help takes strength and courage. Allow your voice to bring into your life what you need in order to flourish. So this rune reminds us that we are gifted with 2 ears and 1 mouth, guiding us to listen twice as much as we speak. Communicate with the intent to understand, not to be heard. Allow yourself the opportunity to truly comprehend the messages you are being sent, regardless of the communication method. Perhaps you prefer to stay silent when deep down your soul is screaming to be heard. Be clear in your communication with others. Do not be afraid to speak your truth. Words are spells. The magic you weave is powerful. Speak with caution and sincerity. All right, so it sounds like that was the thing that sort of comes from past lack of harmony. It's feeling like silenced, or that people aren't listening to what you're saying, or perhaps you're speaking, right, to be heard more than understood. All right, so number 5 is, what will I gain from bringing balance back into my life? And here, fascinatingly, we have number 16, Hagaluz, which is about hell, chaos, destruction, and renewal, right? So this is like the Tower card equivalent, I would say. I mean, she sort of depicts death, you can see here, in this sort of like half of her face, right? We have the hellhounds, we have the skulls underneath, but also it's about renewal. Let's see here. So let me find that one. I have pulled this card many times. I am Hel, goddess of death, half beauty, half corpse. I cherish your last breath. Daughter of Loki, in the ice I reign true. May Hagalaz destroy what no longer serves you. So again, we are pulling on the topic of what will I gain from bringing balance back. We have to let go of what's not serving us. So Hel is the goddess of the underworld who accepts all who arrive at her gates. Hel is the daughter of Angerboda and Loki, banished to Helheim simply because of her parentage. Hel is the goddess who cares for, nourishes, and provides a comfortable afterlife for those who have been departed. Hel has the power over the 9 worlds, and as we see in the case of Baldur's death, has power over the death of the gods. In the Prose Edda, Hel has mansions with great walls, a hall named Illusnir, sleet cold, a dish named Hunger, a knife named Famine, and a servant named Idler, a maid named Slavin, a threshold named Pit of Stumbling, a bed named Disease, and curtains named Gleaming Veil. Hel is cold, yet she opens her home to warmly welcome those who have departed. She accepts all, the goddess of death and rebirth. The afterlife is a symbol of what is to come once we emerge from the destruction of the old and step into the new, right? So that is the answer. What I will gain from bringing balance back is that you will emerge from the destruction of the old and step into the new. Hel extends a hand to you as you release the bonds of life and step into death, which feels appropriate as we enter the sort of the veil is thin season, spooky season. October is coming up. Halloween, we have Samhain, we have Day of the Dead, right? Hagaluz is the rune of chaos. meaning hail, literally as in like precipitation. It represents the brute force by which things are destroyed. It's the disruption of the day-to-day, breaking down routines and habits that no longer serve you. This rune brings an upheaval, upsetting the status quo for the purposes of realigning you and bringing you closer to your higher purpose. Perhaps you are in a state of flux, or you have felt that things are falling apart at the seams. Trust that this is breaking down unhelpful situations, thoughts, and behaviors. You are going through an immense period of transformation, which is providing opportunities to learn and grow. It can be uncomfortable as you lose control and feel helpless to stop the oncoming torrential hailstorm that threatens to wash you away. We have to trust that the storm will pass, yet work will be needed to rebuild and adapt to the changes in your life. It's a powerful transformation, often one that comes without warning, preparing you as you move towards your destiny. As with all natural phenomenon, Haggalus can be savage and unpredictable. Yet, in the face of disaster, humanity has shown its incredible ability to rise up, band together, and rebuild. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, you too will overcome this challenge and rise up stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever. All right, and then finally, we have our future foundation for more peace. Oh, look at this beautiful wedge here. In the woods. So this is Uruz Merkstov, the rune ire, weakness, unwellness, and stagnation. And again, this is as we think about our foundation for future peace. I am Ire, goddess of healing. I ease your pain, bring comfort and feeling. Take away weakness in your darkest hour. May Uruz Merkstov reveal your true power. So Ire is the goddess of healing, renowned for her medical skills. She's a Valkyrie who shows mercy to the ill and provides comfort and protection, and the maiden to the mighty Menglod who dwells upon the mountain. She's renowned for her healing skills, a practitioner of medicine, and often called upon to bless the sick and take away illness. Her name means protection, help, or mercy, and people give offerings to her in exchange for healing of all ailments. Ire is worshipped today by Norse pagans and heathens and may call upon her to regain their inner strength, health, and vitality. So again, this is our foundation for future peace, right? It's calling upon things using healing skills, medical practitioners of any kind to bless the sick and take away illness. Let's see here. As we think about, she stands with her tools to create healing medicine that is available to those who seek it, right? And here are her tools depicted here. All right. And Uruz Merkstov represents a lack of health, so this may refer to unwellness in body, mind, or spirit. It encourages you to explore your own well-being and reflect upon your lifestyle. What behaviors do you engage in that jeopardize your health? Are you prioritizing your health or neglecting to care for yourself in a way that brings wellness? Find a source of healthy nourishment for your body, mind, and spirit to ensure that you regain your vitality. Perhaps now is the time to call upon the expertise of a healer or medical professional to help regain optimal health. Uruz Merkstov holds the energy of stagnation, opposed to the creative and transformative powers in the upright position. It may require some conscious effort to move past the lethargy. Sometimes just doing without waiting for motivation can bring positive change. Set up routines or support systems to help you regain your power and energy. So again, this is how our future foundation for more peace, right, is healing ourselves, holding the energy of stagnation, and also working towards, right, maybe we're not actually waiting for motivation. We're doing some things and maybe finding activation energy within that. And setting up our own routines and support systems to actually allow us to regain our power and energy and not just always feel depleted. So Uruz Merkstov can also represent waning strength and weakness, often in the form of lacking fortitude and resilience. Boundaries. Dig deep, uncover the well of strength that lies within you. You have immeasurable power that can be tapped into in order to forge ahead and keep fighting. Regain your power, step into your authenticity, and call upon your inner strength. Your ancestors walk alongside you, and Aya offers you healing. Call upon them to aid you in prioritizing your well-being, which again is very appropriate this time of year, right? We are again entering Samhain, we are entering Libra season, we are entering Day of the Dead and Halloween, where the ancestors are slightly more available to us, where the veil is thinner, where we might be able to call upon that inner strength and ask for help and regain our power within that, as we also start to do some more rest. I know for me, it's like I've been trying to go to bed before 9 p.m. for weeks. I'm like, it'll happen. I'm going to do it. Be in bed by 9 p.m. All right. So again, this spread was found on angalorum.co. Let's see if I can put the link anywhere. Here we go. That is the link if you wanted to find that spread. It's just the New Moon Libra Tarot spread for this season. All right. So I think that's all for today. I, was pulling cards from the North Goddess Rune Oracle. By Rebecca Joy Stark and artwork by Sharon McLeod. If you'd like to join me on the journey of using the tarot for transformation, you like what you saw today, you want to dive deeper into the tarot, we'll be working together for 12 weeks of calls and journaling to discover what happens when we want to transform our lives through the tarot. Links for the tarot decks I talk about are in the show notes and on my website if you'd like to look at them or purchase them. And thanks for joining me today on this New Moon collective reading for the Everyday Tarot podcast. Just as a reminder, the podcast normal episodes come out daily, Monday through Friday for all of 2025. This will get uploaded there as well as my YouTube and Instagram, and it's live on Facebook right now. You can email me, me@CamilleASaunders.com with any thoughts, questions, and more. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, feel free to email me. I have a guest form available for those I want to get on the podcast and to get folks scheduled. And all right, I'll see you next new moon, where we'll be entering Scorpio season. So I will see you then. All right.